The word on the block is you got a big pipe and you know how to use it. And the other word on the block is that World of Warcraft is gonna get a whole world revamp in 2024. Exciting.
Rebellior said this, and I agreed with him a lot, is that WoW 2, like, WoW 1 was like vanilla to Wrath, and WoW 2 was Cataclysm to WoD, and then WoW 3 was, I would say, Legion to probably Shadowlands, and I think that WoW 4, I don't know if we're really into 4 yet, but we're getting pretty close to it, would be Dragonflight.
Wow.
Classic Warcraft's massive future in 2024.
Have you dreamed about World of Warcraft 2? The graphics of Unreal Engine 5, incredibly
Yes.
lifelike NPCs, beautiful zones,
Please, nothing even like XQC, but this I can get behind, if you know what I mean.
Big Titty Sally. That
Yeah.
one honestly might just
Nice.
be me. Anyway,
That's-
we've
it's
all
not.
thought about
It's
it over the
everyone.
years. The perfect sequel to World of Warcraft, which somehow is still the top dog after nearly 20 years. But
Yep.
let's be honest, we aren't getting that, because the riots we'd have from all the neckbeards, myself included, who have 20,000 hours and hundreds of useless mounts,
We should abandon all of them and never speak of them again, because they are what makes games bad.
transmogs, achievements, and all that other shit we don't ever use would be terrifying. Just think.
I would be completely okay with that. As somebody who probably has
Good.
more of that stuff than anybody else, just let me log into the original game, but start the second one. Yep, it's time to move on. Let's go. Come on, new game.
Imagine 100,000
Nice.
Aẓmongolds marching down the street in protest. But that mentality is a really bad take from people, because
I
all
agree.
those achievements, mounts, transmogs, and the other bullshit we've collected over the past 2 decades, those would simply be fun memories we think of as we spend another 20,000 hours collecting newer things.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that
Yeah,
won't happen.
true.
Classic Plus, on the other hand, now that is something we can get and something that we
Ooh,
should
come
get.
on.
That's what I think too.
Give me play. Like I have been advocating for this for since Classic honestly came out. That we need the continuation of Classic, which is not anything that they have done. Reworks, rebalances, new content, completely new stuff. We want to experience it. At some point, though, it will 100% come.
Too. Like, I think the idea of them making a WoW 2 is like, it's pretty much not going to happen, right? I want to see Classic Plus, because I think that, like, WoW has just had so much bloat over the years. I think that the original WoW was great.
Success of Classic Plus private servers like Turtle WoW, at the success of Hardcore on Classic.
I heard from my friend Dylan said that his brother said that Joe Rogan died in general chat of Turtle WoW, and then
General chat.
then the mods banned him. They literally perma-banned his account for saying that Joe Rogan died. And Dylan texted me. He's like, dude, please, like, Turtle WoW sucks, man. Don't ever play on that server, man. That server is fucking garbage.
At the success of Hardcore
Dude.
on Classic, as well as the myriad of other Classic Plus private servers that
Oh,
are
yeah,
doing
there's a
very
lot of
well.
them.
We can see that there's a large demand for Classic WoW that keeps going and just
course.
doesn't stop. Blizzard was completely wrong about players not wanting
That is true. And by the way, the most shocking thing, if you do not know, is the fact that Classic WoW is getting a resurgence. And I'm not talking about Wrath of the Lich King. That thing can die over in a corner somewhere. No one cares, right? But classic vanilla WoW, that's getting a resurgence. Like, they're reintroducing a layering because there's too many people currently playing it. It's absolute insanity. It's just such a wonderful mess of things that somehow magically work together and keep you entertained, engaged, and you like it, that it's unrepeatable. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, honestly, it feels like currently.
Classic, and it'd be wrong to think we don't want Classic Plus. I mean,
Yep.
honestly, we just want WoW 2, but we'll settle for Classic Plus. It'll also probably
True.
cost just a fraction of the price.
I think Classic Plus is probably better, because
Yes,
you've got to
please.
think, like, let me just go ahead. Let's get a reality check here, just real quick. And I don't like to do this, but we're going to do it. Who's making WoW 2? The people that made Shadowlands and Dragonflight. Says a lot.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But on the
So
other
making World
hand,
of Warcraft.
no. But on the other hand, who's gonna make Classic Plus? The people who already made bad decisions in Classic. I mean, I do not trust. People are happy with Classic Vanilla because there's no changes essentially. But no changes is stupid and bad. Everyone's now asking for changes, and the people behind Classic WoW are like literally out of their minds in terror, not just fear, terror. They're terrified to make changes. Like, one of the easiest ways that I spotted that these people are completely inept and have no idea what they're doing is when Classic came out, that there was no changes, and they didn't even make it so that you can use summoning stones. There is not a single person in this world who is happy about the fact that you can't use summoning stones in Classic when it got released. It was the worst thing in the game, okay? And they didn't even change that, even though everyone knew that changes are going to happen and they're going to be necessary. The people behind Classic WoW are literally as inept as the people who made Shadowlands.
Too, whilst giving people a glimpse of it. Since WoW was released in 2004, it's had an ungodly amount of updates and expansions. Some pleasant, some vilified, and some people that initially hated it back in the day now reminisce about it fondly, as if they weren't raging in the forums back then.
True.
I told y'all, like, about Wrath. I think Wrath class design is the best out of all three of them. I think Wrath is better than Vanilla. I think it's better than Burning Crusade. But the end-game gameplay of Wrath is not very good. That's just the truth. It's not very good.
People keep wanting to go back to the roots of WoW because they miss the nostalgia, the community, the simplicity, and the lore. For a large portion of people who actively play WoW or consume WoW content, most of us have been playing since we were kids or teenagers. We have incredible memories, and we want to relive those memories.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't a nostalgia-based...
Scamming people was a good time. Still doing it in Classic, by the way. Bruh, good old times. There is not a single dungeon where I did not ninja loot every single item from the last boss, because I'm just that kind of guy. It is what it is, boys. For each their own.
Video, I've done that already, twice in fact, just like every other WoW content creator. But nostalgia plays a part in why people like Classic WoW, and that's why Classic Plus would be a huge boon to the game, because you'd get to create new memories, exploring and discovering the world of Classic with new features, raids, content, and more. And it would give guilds a reason to be active, and not just be raid loggers waiting for the next raid. Imagine the excitement of new farm
I don't think raid logging is such a bad thing.
locations, discovering secrets out in the open world.
I don't want them to add in. You can tell, by the way, one way to tell if it's retail WoW Arena or classic WoW is that if you don't know what's happening on the screen, it's retail WoW.
True.
Yeah. If you can't tell what's happening, it's retail WoW. Very simple.
Admittedly, no one understood what's happening at Wrath of the Lich King already, if we're being completely real here.
I don't want to see them add in a bunch of new stuff to keep people logging in daily for Classic Plus. The reason why Classic is really good is because there are things that you have to do, but you can do them, like theoretically, you can farm out consumables for 6 months and then just raid log every single week. Or you can farm consumables every single week. Like, I don't want to see them add in a bunch of mandatory fun activity.
Or you can go in the guild that just doesn't care about you not having consumables, and guess what? That guild's clear speed is 10 minutes off of world record. Because the game is so easy.
Full PvP zones, and more things for players to sink their teeth into. Or I'd hope so at least. Maybe people would be less antisocial with these changes. If you want to play a single-player MMO, just play Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail. They could
I tremendously disagree with this take. And I think that, like, for example, if you look at a lot of the really successful RuneScape things that they've added, at least my understanding of it, is like they've added this Inferno thing, and there was like a Hydra that you had to fight. And I think that MMOs are becoming... The idea that you are part of a permanent world doesn't mean... A permanent world that's shared with other people doesn't mean that you always have to be actively cooperating with those people in order to take part in that world.
That's true. Again, I am always advocating, by the way, for solo things. I think we can save Lost Ark by literally just doing something as simple as adding solo bosses, which is gonna never happen again. Sad, but it's literally never gonna sadly happen unless Lost Ark 2 comes along or something like that. But yeah, games are doing this. But that's not necessarily... Well, it is actually true for RuneScape, but not for Asmon's reasons. Because I know more about RuneScape. Most content pieces that are added are literally intended for groups. You know, their raids get added constantly, and their group activities. Yeah, they do add solo bosses, but you can also solo raids. But everything is just, you know, possible to do solo. But in reality, it is actually intended to be group activities.
And I think seeing things like people soloing the Inferno and a lot of solo content in MMO...
You can't, by the way, group Inferno. The Lava Cape and Fire Cape are literally solo activities that you cannot do in a group. It's impossible.
I think that's great, and I feel like that's the future. Is having solo content in MMOs that allow players to distinguish themselves and show it off to other people in the main city. And why do I think that? Because it seems like that's what happens every time that they add solo stuff. It's because people like it more.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of things that people do. Keep in mind, think about hardcore. Hardcore WoW is primarily a solo game. Really. Like, I mean, most people play hardcore solo, and they group maybe once a week. So I think hardcore, if anything, is a great argument for what I'm saying.
Like the average player.
Tower, you've got all the RuneScape stuff, you've got things like Final Fantasy, the Necromancer shit, but obviously Deep Dungeon is like really not that popular, so probably not a great example. I remember people like watching me do like the Lost Ark Guardian solo, Iron Man mode. Yeah, that's why BDO is popular. A lot of games are popular because of that.
Yeah, again, for Lost Ark, it would be so amazing.
To make the game more difficult, give harder difficulties to classic raid.
People want to exist in a public space but do their own shit? Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking exactly. That's what I want to see.
That's literally Diablo, technically.
Remember this guy?
No.
Remember whenever the Alliance had a king and not a pussy?
No.
Those were the good days, huh?
Dude, this guy's a furry, by the way. Just FYI, your king was a furry.
A long time ago? Yeah.
It's the Molten Core, for example. WoW has gotten far more challenging over the years, but the challenge isn't necessarily
good or fun. Keep in mind, Varian 1v1 Garrosh.
If you've done Mythic Plus or Mythic Raiding in retail, you can understand what I'm saying. I wasn't really savvy enough to go balls to the wall with it, but pointlessly complex mechanics to counteract the powerful add-ons isn't exactly the definition of fun. They could add difficulty that was less reliant on dodge the 55 missiles coming out of Ragnaros' booty hole.
Oh, bro, like this fight, this fight was a this was a guild breaker.
Nice.
This was actually so fucking brutal.
10 out of 10.
And avoid his cockslam that happens exactly every 3.4 seconds. And if one person gets hit, you all die. And instead, they could add more ads, a few more phases. Heck, even add cooler music to get your blood pumping. Listen to this Final Fantasy XIV OST right here.
It sounds like techno or whatever, very gay. No excuses.
I feel like he picked the worst one. This is like the worst one. Like, why not show like the last phase of like Zurvan or like Bahamut? Great King Moogle Mog,
I'm not a content designer. I don't know how hard or easy it is to design content. I'm just saying difficulty should be more about a challenge and not calculating the trajectory and location of where the US military will firebomb the Middle East. And tying back into what I said.
A hospital or an orphanage, obviously.
About the game above. People love Classic and by extension Classic Plus because of the simplicity of the game. After almost...
Well, they also like the fact that the game is open-ended and you don't have to make decisions based off of what the game tells you to do. There's no battle pass, there's no login rewards, there's no weeklies, there's no dailies. Hardly. You can just go in there and play the game and enjoy yourself. I think that's a big factor. That's why people like it.
Hot take. I think battle passes are fine if a battle pass is made good, okay? But if a battle pass is bad, then, you know, it feels bad. And it's rare that battle passes are good, and that's why most likely everyone is currently writing in the comments that this point was stupid. But it's true. If you have played Dota, you know how good battle passes can be. Without paying a single buck, you get so much. And with paying a little bit, you get even so much more. Battle passes can be amazing. But 99% of them are not. And no one expects Blizzard to not screw up a battle pass.
And also, leveling matters.
2 decades of bloat, retail feels like it's limping along, patching its cuts, its bruises, and its wounds rather than actively taking care of the core issues. Classic didn't have all that excess bloat, and Classic Plus could improve and add on to the simple features that made Classic, Classic, with things like more quest lines and chains for unique rewards, and improvement on the talents in the game.
If you stand in a line, you're such a loser. Just Sinister, just spam tab and Sinister Strike. There you go. Easy peasy, boy.
And a mild class and talent revamp for the more useless classes.
I think that they should do that too. There's no reason that Red Paladins should be as shitty as they are in Classic WoW. It's stupid. It's the same with Moon Boys.
For example, Shadow Priest not being as poorly designed as it is, or
Well, Shadow Priest, half of the reason why Shadow Priest was bad in Classic, my understanding, is because of the debuff limit.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why people didn't play Affliction as much. Like, I'm pretty sure it still gets outperformed by other stuff, but the debuff limit is a big factor. Mana? Oh, mana was a big thing even in Burning Crusade.
Paladin being a tank, and guess what?
Was it? I don't remember. Was it really? I think between the shadow buff thing, or the shadow thing that gives you a mana, between paladins, between monetized totems, between, I don't know, like 50 other things, I don't think that was an issue.
But actually having a taunt. Throw in more races that people actually want, like ogres and high elves, cross-faction guild, and groupings that
or something sexy in high elves.
The PvP sweatlords battle it out, orc versus human. Me, on the other hand, can go on a picnic with an orc and a human. Whether PvP stays separate or not is a different question. The balance...
Yeah, I think that they, like, for cross-realm grouping, I kind of wouldn't want to see that in, like, Classic Plus. But I would want to see, like, if they did a PvP and a PvE server for Classic Plus, I'd want them to have, like, cross-realm or cross-faction grouping for the PvE server.
we'll have to figure that one out. But PvE has
no one would play the PvP server at the end of the day.
Reason to be kept separate. Add in reputations to grind and have more systems tied to it. Let me grind some useless reputation like Zug's Premier Fishing and have the exalted reward be a club that you fish with. Add way more dungeons, more places to explore and discover, interesting farming spots like Grimbatol, Stratholm proper, Ruins of Hyjal, Oralis and Gilneas. Design and expand on the classic PvP system. Just make it better than what it is, but keep it.
Well, they've made a lot of changes to the classic PvP system. Like they made it to where like you don't D-rank anymore and you're not really competing against like other people, you're competing against like yourself, if that makes sense. And like, yeah, they've done that, which is good. But like, yeah, I don't want to see any like this right here. No more of these.
Why?
Unique in the way that it was, but most of all,
because it looks like a femboy. Yeah, that's actually a good reason.
More important than anything else I just listed is going back to the beginning with the lore, before we as the players were champions of Azeroth, protectors of the galaxy, defeater of the Burning Legion, master of insert class here, killer of God, and back to when we were just simple adventurers exploring
gods, multiple,
discovering, and banding together in the hundreds to defeat major villains.
I've said before that I think that Final Fantasy convinced me that having a main story where your character is literally the savior of the world is actually not problematic fundamentally to an MMO, but I do prefer having an adventurer-based game. Like, I think that...
He's right. Fundamentally, it's obviously not a problem. Like, who thinks that?
It can work without it, but I want to have a game where you start at 0.
But Blizzard has fundamentally also failed at it.
And the reason why is that whenever you have a character story and your character is treated as if they did something, that is directing the RP of your character. And whenever I used to play WoW, I was a lot younger. I never really role-played in the game, right? I'm not a role-player, as you guys know. I never did GTRP or anything like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a lie.
But there is a soft role-play that you do, kind of. Where, like, you're playing a human warrior, and you want to feel like you are your class. And whenever you do that, and you're constantly having your character be referred to as certain things, that can actively conflict with a person's or a player's headcanon of what their character is. You see kind of what I mean? And that's why I like stories that treat the player like an adventurer rather than, you know, some sort of like massive hero. Give an example? Sure. So like, let's say, like, I always viewed my barbarian as the barbarian that I played in, or my warrior as the barbarian I played in Dungeons and Dragons, where it was just an asshole, belligerent, doesn't care about anything except for getting more things and doesn't even care about the things whenever he gets them, right? And so, you know, not a hero, not a savior, not a team player.
That's not roleplay, that's self-inserting.
Always out for himself, only cares about himself, and he has other friends, and they all work together, and they have, like, you know, a mutual understanding. That's about it, right? Like, a literal fucking barbarian. So whenever you go into the city, and they're like, wow, you've saved everybody. Everybody, look, it's the hero who saved everyone. And they're like, wow, we love you. It's like, no, I didn't. Because in my mind, it's like, I would have stolen all your shit if I could. So it doesn't really make sense. Like, in my mind, of like what I imagined my character to be. I remember Blizzard said one time, and I thought this was one of the smartest things that somebody at Blizzard has ever said, is that the main character in Classic WoW is the world. And I thought that was so fucking smart.
That's true,
because
actually,
that's really true, right? It's massively true. And I think that just throughout the story of the game, it became more focused on individual characters and personalities and the player character itself.
Maybe this way they won't write themselves into a corner with bigger and badder villains each expansion, because they wouldn't need a reason to keep creating stronger villains if we as the players stayed as adventurers. And this way the lore would not be molested as horribly as the writers have done over the course of 2 decades.
Well, I think that people are always going to want to have like a spectacle creep, etc. But the problem is that I don't think that the power level of the enemy really matters that much. I think it's just about whether the raid is good. If the raid is good, then people are happy. If the raid is bad, people are not happy. That's about it.
True.
We have 2-bit Thanos, Sylvanas being morally great.
They killed my Sylvanas so badly. They did our girl dirty. So sad.
Like, I also think that like a good example of this is like Jaina. Like at the Siege of Borealis. Who is stronger, Jaina or an old god? Jaina or Gahun?
Obviously, the one with the bigger tits.
Oh, man, I wonder, right?
Also, Sylvana has clown hair, which is very fitting. Even she's my Night Elf mommy pick.
But people like that raid more. I don't think that the bosses have to be super powerful or anything like that. Jaina kind of OP recently. Gahun is it's like a synthetic old god. It's not even remotely close.
Shouldn't be, yes.
Being made useless as a plot device. Vol'jin dying for no goddamn reason at all. Hashtag Garrosh did nothing wrong. Thrall becoming Thrawler, and more things to count. I don't have the time to list every major grievance I have with the lore, because holy fuck do I have so many. Also, Anduin is going to be gay with—
Oh my god. Bro.
Yes!
Anduin, I just like...
Yes!
Oh, bro, like, what?
From a literal fursuit enthusiast to a rainbow enthusiast. 10 out of 10 Blizzard. Thank God the Alliance get what they deserve. You wanted this.
Why do we have such
This is what you get for being the literal only class, the only faction in the fucking game that it has humans so you can self-insert and run away from your measly, pathetic lives because you want to feel powerful because you're too stupid to go to the gym. This is what you get. This is exactly what you get. If you want to be the self-inserts, then congratulations. This is America, baby. And, well, if you're against this, you're probably going to be hung in the town square in 5 years or something. So good luck, dude.
Like, it's just crazy to me that we can have, like, how is Anduin the king if he left because, oh, things got really stressful for him? Things were really stressful. And so he's just not going to come back to Stormwind. Yeah, he's really stressed out. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck that, dude. Like, remember Varian? Yeah, remember Varian literally had his soul split in half. Finally gets his soul back.
Who?
Fucking comes right up to Stormwind and is like, all right, boys, yo, my bad, I'm back. Let's keep going. Immediately fucking goes to war with the Horde again. Not even a big deal. But Anduin does this weird fucking find yourself pussy shit. Oh my god, it's so annoying. First king to take a break.
Gay. What's with the teasing? I'm not gay for wanting that, but like, goddamn, kiss already. But at least with Classic Plus, if they do decide to ruin the story a completely unique second time, they might not ruin my favorite characters this time. Then we have
a completely unique second time.
Customization and player creativity, which has been expanded upon but stifled all the same. 20 years of gameplay and no player housing. We got garrisons, which then promptly got abandoned. Why can't my orc have a farm in Durotar so I can farm turnips and pigs? Why can't my—
That's a really great question. Why can't we have a farm in Elwyn Forest or Durotar or,
Because you don't make farms in forests, you idiot.
Fucking, like, what's the other place? Westfall. Yeah, why can't we? Why can't we do that? Like, yeah, it's a great question.
I human have a little countryside manor in Elwyn Forest, where I refuse to pay the peasants a fair wage and further bolster the Defias Brotherhood's numbers.
Yeah, like, I think that'd be great, right? And, like, you have to and wouldn't that be interesting if, like...
Bruh. Imagine they give us cotton fields and shit. That would be the best. That would be the best absolute drama in the history of ever.
You can enlist peasants into, like, your garrison, and every once in a while they demand payment, and, like, the payment is, like, let's say 30,000.
And they try to unionize.
Gold, and so the player has the option to start, like, a scenario where it's a worker uprising, and you have to kill all of your workers. Like...
You have to expend money on piss bottles.
Or you have to pay them? Like, that would be something interesting, right? That would be fucking cool. But no. It's about Anduin's feelings. Oh my god. Like, there should be a rule in the game for World of Warcraft that a character can never talk about how they feel. Varian never really talked about how he felt at all. Because he's the king, he's got to do what he's got to do. Thrall in Warcraft 3... talked a little bit, you know, like to Grom is like, you know, it is what it is. And they're like, yep, all right, well, let's go beat the Burning Legion now. Let's go kill Manaroth. It's like, okay, all right, let's go. Loktar Ogar. And that's it, yeah.
Pretty much.
None of that shit.
What about if my orc wants a countryside manor in Elwyn Forest? Think about the inclusivity. And honestly, player housing should have been in retail a decade ago, but for some reason, we as players aren't allowed to have homes and are forced to rent forever. Champion of Azeroth, but you're homeless. Interesting. We don't even have guild halls. Imagine the community benefits of having a guild hall. Hanging up Onyxia's ass, her head on the wall. Ragnaros's hammer, Kalthazard's phylactery. You could showcase your guild's achievements, have a place for people to meet, a more unique place to jump around mentally AFK whilst you wait for someone to log on and start something. Imagine having an awesome castle in Redridge where all of your guildies group up, discuss business, plan activities, and more.
Well, it would also give people a good way to, like, there used to be guild achievements. They added these in Cataclysm. There was, like, one guild achievement for, like, killing critters. And I remember we used to have, like, everybody would go out to the ice caps in, this is going to sound fucked up. Everybody would go out to the
Oh, he mean the seals in Borean Tundra.
Icebergs in Borean Tundra and Icecrown. and AoE down penguins.
Bruh, I just did that shit for fun. I didn't even know there's an achievement.
And we was fucking AoE them down, and we did this for like 2 weeks, and we got the achievement. It was like a whole guild event.
Make the world 100 times more active by having player housing instances scattered.
By the way, you know why they removed all of that crap? Because no one cared. That's the reality of it. No one cared.
Throughout the world. Throw in a guild housing.
Also, bot farmers actually, botters actually use that. If a new player makes a thing, you get these XP bonuses, and every time you kill something, you like give a small bit of you get a small bit of money to the guild. So botters made guilds that were max level, and they would instantaneously invite new players that created accounts and didn't have guilds, so they could farm gold while doing nothing. It was genius.
Place an album,
nice.
Throw one in Durotar, throw one across the world so people have to go to their guild housing location.
Yeah.
Imagine customizing your farm or your guild hall with random decorations, or your GM stealing the guild bank being your GM actually stealing the guild bank because he stole the whole goddamn castle by kicking everyone out of the guild. Imagine all the drama
Nice.
videos. My GM stole our castle, but in all honesty, the innovation needed to make Classic Plus good is far less than the innovation needed to make World of Warcraft 2. The effort is far less, but it would create such a happy community and would give people so much more desire to return to the game and keep playing. Blizzard already knows everything the players want. Just look at all the private servers. Tack on a hardcore option or a hardcore server. Give people some unique stuff for completing.
See, they never talked about their feelings in this fucking cinematic, did they? No. It was the most fucking
They implied feelings.
manly cinematic they've ever had. Nothing else has, nothing after or since has ever come.
Wait. The whole reason, bruh. Wait. The whole reason that the Legions of Draenor, or whatever that stupid expansion was called, is because Garage Hellscream decided to be a pussy and want Daddy's attention. And he couldn't get it because Daddy was dead, so he decided to break space and time because he wanted his dad to fucking pat him on the back and finally return from going after cigarettes. The whole expansion only happened because Gramash was a pussy.
Close.
Pointless challenges and let people create their own fun and activities. Vanilla was fun because we created the adventure we wanted to experience, and whilst Classic imitated that really well, in my personal opinion, the only way to get that feeling back is Classic Plus or WoW 2. I will never say no to World of Warcraft 2, but I just don't see how WoW 2 would even be feasible. It would be a Herculean effort, but it would honestly be one of the most defining moments in gaming history if Blizzard did.
They've already missed so many opportunities. They should have done WoW 2 after Shadowlands. Like, Shadowlands was the perfect ending of WoW 2. And it's everything could have been absolutely fucking perfect with Shadowlands ending WoW. But no, Legion could have been the ending too.
They'll take the task of creating.
Every expansion can be the ending if something big happens and then you just say, well, that happened and then an asteroid hit Azeroth and there we go, 200 years later. Whoop-de-doo.
WoW 2. I always like to imagine a world with such a game, all the features, all the things in it. But I don't have to because the right MMO is a few years out and I'm sure that'll essentially be WoW 2.
For sure.
Regardless, players are drawn to the game's sense of nostalgia, community, difficulty by design, simplicity, and lore. Classic Plus offers that to us by simply being a revamp and continuation of the vanilla.
I think people don't want difficulty, by the way. Yeah, they don't want difficulty. They want loot.
And classic experience, and allows us to relive the early days of WoW, but in a more modern way, with features and designs that would be beneficial to the player base, and maybe potentially a graphical update. Potentially if Blizzard is willing to try to spend the time and money. But that's why I think WoW Classic Plus is the future of World of Warcraft. If you liked the video, subscribe. If you hated the video, subscribe so you can hear my next video too. Also, watch this video right here if you want to see me rant about Amazon games. Thank you, Ebonhard out.
Yeah,
that's true. That's so true.
But yeah, I definitely agree with this. I mean, again, I'm not really expecting WoW 2 to be some kind of crazy, you know, fucking home run, because it's going to be the same people that made Dragonflight. Like, they're going to have the same ideas, the same
Wait, Dragonflight is considered good though.
mindset, like the same problems. You wouldn't want to I mean, I'd be okay with that. I just don't think that's really what the game needs, right? Like, they do a huge graphical update. Yeah, a lot of people come back and play the game, but they're going to
That's pretty much it. Anyway, that's pretty much it. This was Quizzer Sid. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.